business before this commission, come forth and you shall be heard. Please silence your cell phones and refrain from making any noises in the meeting room. May God bless the United States, the state of Tennessee, and DeKalb County.
Let's pray. Almighty God, we bow before you, Lord, tonight just to give you thanks for the blessings you share upon us. We thank you, Lord, for the blessings of the change in the weather. And Father, we pray that tonight as we gather together and discuss the county business, that we can conduct ourselves in a manner that will be pleasing to you. We ask you, Lord, to bless each decision that is made, and may each decision be made with discerning of your will. And Father, may you guide us and protect us in all things. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, can you call the roll?
Tom Chandler. Here. Tony Luna.
Here.
Larry Green.
Here.
Beth Pafford.
Here.
Myron Rhodey.
Here.
Greg Matthews.
Here.
Andy Pack.
Here.
Matthias Anderson.
Here.
Glenn Merriman.
Here.
Brandon Donnell.
Here.
Daniel Cripps.
Here.
Jeff Barnes.
Here.
Sabrina Farler. Tony Caldwell.
Here.
13 present.
All right. You should have a new agenda that's been updated from our workshop meeting. Our next item is public comments. Would there be any individual that would like to come up? You'll have 3 minutes to speak and state your name and either your address or the district you reside in.
Steve Cantrell, District 5, the best district. 3 items. First, on 19 February, last week, SRM posted a sign on Highway 70 outside their proposed quarry site on Snow Hill. Now, some of you may have seen the sign as you were driving by, not if you were driving up the hill, but down the hill. I barely caught it on Friday, but thankfully WJLE has published it on their news site. The sign provides 3 links, one of which is to their actual application permit site, and it shows what SRM has submitted for the proposed Smithville Quarry to the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. The key word used in all of TDEC's correspondence with SRM is proposed Smithville Quarry, not operational. TDEC will hold a public hearing in this room on 27 March regarding the proposed issuance of a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Permit, or NPDESP. This same type of hearing that Mr. Chandler and I attended for the proposed Jones-Alexandria Quarry on 17 December 2024. As for the Jones-Alexandria Quarry, its TDEC permit was issued on 31 January, 3 months after the DeKalb County Powers Act went into effect on 28 October. However, this permit is but one of numerous permits required to be approved for operations. So why am I listing all this to both you, the government, and the citizens? The County Powers Act went into effect on October 28, 2024. As a result, neither site was deemed operational at the time the County Powers Act went into effect. Not my determination, not your determination, but a state of Tennessee government office which has legal jurisdiction over such matters. So, based on the state's determination, neither the Jones nor the SRM site is eligible for an exception under the Act's grandfather clause. That is the DeKalb County Powers Act grandfather clause. Bottom line and good news, You no longer need to debate that. Second, back to SRM. Please visit the TDEC-maintained SRM permit site via the link on the sign that WJLE has published. On that site is a 12 December TDEC email message to SRM summarizing TDEC's compliance review meeting with SRM on the 10th of December. Attached to that email is a copy of TDEC's briefing. Slide 3 of that briefing highlights that 6 of the 7 SRM Tennessee mining facilities, including the proposed Smithville site, had new or continuing violation issues which needed to be addressed. That's 6 of their 7 in the state of Tennessee. As a result, it's obvious, even if you just scan it, that DeKalb citizens and their government need to remain vigilant.
Stephen, your time has expired.
Okay, when it comes to quarry operations, especially as it impacts our waters. Thank you.
State your name, either your address or the district you reside in. I'll give you 3 minutes to speak.
Doug Walter, I'm District 2. I'm here tonight, excuse me, I'm here tonight to request a public discussion and a public vote by the committee regarding the enforcement of the County Powers Act against the proposed SRM quarry. I and a lot of people would like to know where the council stands. I understand the commission plans to pursue a cease and desist order against Jones Brothers, but not SRM, and I question that decision. Drawing some comparisons, both companies had not received all required permits when the County Powers Act took effect. SRM had not even applied for their Tennessee DOT permit. Wasn't even applied for by the County Powers Act passage, which means they're out of compliance. Neither company has begun operations. In fact, SRM cannot, while Jones Brothers can, according to the state of Tennessee. SRM has repeatedly been shut down by state inspectors for trying to work without required permits and repeated violations of state law, as Steve has mentioned. I have a copy with me tonight. If you go through the permit applications that are listed on their sign, there's 4 violations cited against this company, and they haven't even operated yet. Yet you assert, and I've been told that council asserts that they should be grandfathered while issuing a cease and desist orders against Jones Brothers and who haven't violated laws other than applying for permits and their timing. So SRM received 3 out of compliance violations from the state and ultimately were told to remove their equipment. If you don't have a permit and are told by the state to remove your equipment, how can that be considered in operation? That's my question. Also, SRM had not applied for the required permit from TDOT, like I had mentioned. This commission will pursue a cease and desist against Jones Brothers, allowing SRM, the company with multiple violations of state law, off the hook? That's my question. In my opinion, you're not applying the County Powers Act evenly. This sets a dangerous precedent and undermines the intent of the law. If you believe SRM, and again, based on what we just heard, is going to be a good corporate citizen in our county when they have violations against 6 of their 7 quarries right now, and repeated disregard for the law and having violations of the law prior to having a permit cannot count as grandfathered based on the legal research I've done. And another thing is, I believe if you pursue Jones Brothers, the discrepancy in your selective enforcement could leave the door open for other companies to question motives when you try to enforce the law in the future. How would a judge or jury view that? Grundy County provided a model County Powers Act to stop unwelcome encroachment and done a great job with it. Our county passed it, and now it needs to be applied evenly is what we're requesting. I'm asking, again, for an open discussion on this subject, if it's possible, tonight.
All right, is there any other member? You just come up and state your name and either your address or the district you reside in. I'll give you 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Billy Ann Tobster-Garris, and I am in the 6th District, I think, in the Keltonburg area. My issue tonight is stand, ladies, please. It's the arcade room over here that is supposed to be being planned to be a history room, and that's our workout room where we usually work out. We stand because sitting is no longer an option. We feel this capacity to empower women in this community through the acts of yoga, aerobics, strength training, Tabata, line dancing, and pelvic floor exercises, all for women. The conflict is the arcade room being transformed into a history room, archiving all of DeKalb County, different ethnicities and genealogies of local families. This is a grand gesture, but not at the quest of this safe space that we have to design the advantage and disadvantage women. Our solution is, why can't a history room be found in Justin Potter Library or the basement of our local courthouse or one of the spaces between the bathroom and the kitchenette of the UT building? This decision should not be based on pride or practicality, because there is beauty in the simplicity of female connection. We must keep our strength and keep check in it, because our dignity needs to be intact. Women are strong, as you know, because all of us come from a mother. We are worthy of this. We are mothers, sisters, daughters that are strong, confident, self-reliant, and not so easily shaken. This space should be our challenge, not resulting in a crumble by our county. Thank you so much.
Could I ask one question? Because I don't know the answer, and that's why I'm asking. When it was the arcade room, were y'all meeting somewhere then?
We're usually everywhere around here, like in here, in the auditorium. Sometimes we used to be in the gym, in the history room, outside on the porch.
But there's no other good room location? Is there any other good location?
You know, if we just want a location.
Right. That's what I'm wondering. Is there another good private location in here anywhere?
When we call Myron, we get told a lot, we have no room.
It probably depends on what's already previously been.
But do we have anything that's not being booked up? I don't know. I'm just asking because I don't know.
I don't know either. It just happens people schedule stuff and rent rooms out.
So, since we're asking questions, I will ask you this one. Where did you hear that we were turning the arcade room into a history room? To my knowledge, there's no such plan to do that.
I haven't heard that either.
I heard it from the complex itself.
No.
I haven't heard it from anyone.
Rest easy. No.
Okay. Okay. Because they encouraged us to come and.
All right.
Our main conversation, I think, was on the history room. Was since we're not going to develop it into a history room, we need to change the name of it.
Yeah.
Of that room. That was our main. I think, best I can recall, our main conversation was what to an event room or what we need to rename the history room if it's not going to be designated a history room.
Okay.
All right, let's get back on track. I haven't heard anything about changing an arcade room or anything like that. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, any other member of the public? All right, you can come up and speak, and we'll give you 3 minutes. State your name and either your address or the district you reside in.
My name is Sammy Maxwell. I live at 107 North Mountain Street, Smithville, Tennessee, and that is the 3rd Civil District of DeKalb County. I have heard some rumors and saw a notice on the local radio station, WJLE, that this body is considering modifying the manner that you allow people to speak at your meeting, the public. And I want to say, at first thing, I am always a proponent of civility and decorum in the commission meetings, the school board meetings, your parent-teacher meetings, any meetings. I am on record as being for law and order. I am concerned, though, that if this is changed, and I have no idea, you know, I understand that we have to have efficiency to carry on our business. It is something about the agenda, and you cannot speak unless, you know, what the topic you seek is on the agenda, and that makes a ton of sense. And if that is our goal here, is efficiency and better business, that's wonderful, that's good. If your goal is to silence someone, not good. A hallmark of democracy is our freedom of speech, and to let us know, let our representatives and our officials know our opinions and our thoughts. And I understand that, you know, y'all are not full-time employees. You are here, you are serving at the pleasure of the people, and you are serving because you desire to make a difference. And I think that is wonderful. I think that is honorable, and I don't want you to think that I think anything of any of you any different. We don't have enough people that are interested in sometimes small communities as ours. But what I want to suggest, and this is only a suggestion, and you take it for whatever, I won't be offended in any manner. Perhaps we need to consider an additional meeting, something like maybe a public forum. And I know that when you're having a workshop and you're having a business meeting, I know that it gets burdensome, you know. But if we had a public forum, which would have to comply with the Public Meetings Act, it would have to be advertised, it would have to be recorded, it would have to be scheduled, you know, and advertised. And I realize you're thinking, oh me, another meeting. We're bogged down in meetings now. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be at night. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same time every month or every quarter, whenever you want to have it. But if you could just have it to let people feel that they have a say-so and let them understand. You know, public forums have a long history in the
Ma'am,
realm
your
of
3
democracy.
minutes have expired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member that would like to speak? Anybody from the public? All right. We'll move on to approval of our agenda. Any commissioner would like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Greg. Seconded by Colwell. Any discussion? All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Approval of our minutes from our last meeting. Would you like to entertain a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Myron made a motion.
Second.
Seconded by Larry Green. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Our first finance report was our local option sales tax report. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve this report? Motion by Daniel. seconded by Colwell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes. We do have some Board of Education budget amendments. For the U-Trust grant, $11,400. This is debited and credited into those lines. The volunteer pre-K budget amendment, I got a $162,165.86, debiting from the fund balance and credited to early childhood education in the same amount. Other supplies and materials of the and donations, they have credited $7,200 to other supplies from donations. Looks like a budget amendment for coordinated school health. It's debiting clerical personnel and $2,260, Social Security and $140, Medicare $33, other contracted services $1,000, and they're crediting that to other supply and materials in the amount of $2,933, and in-service staff development and $500. For the innovative school models, we're debiting $20,000 from instructional supplies and materials, another $15,000 from instruction supplies and materials in a different account number, and then they're crediting that in that total amount of $35,000 to regular instruction equipment. Anybody like to combine these and approve them?
Combine these and vote on their approval.
All right, Myron made a motion to combine these budget amendments and approve them, and seconded by Colwell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes. We do have another budget amendment that was passed out to you in Fund 171, our Capital Projects Fund. This is coming from fund balance in the amount of $27,481 and crediting to public safety projects, motor vehicles, in that same amount. This is a request for additional funding to purchase a new ambulance that was bid on February 19th, 2025. We currently have $419,693 budgeted for the ambulance and the equipment. The total cost for the equipment and ambulance is $447,120. So this is the community development block grant that we're getting, and we've been approved for. We were approved for that $419,639 when we bid it, and at the purchasing committee, it was come in over bid at $27,481, so we have to pay the difference in order to receive the ambulance. Anybody like to make a motion to approve the amendment?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Greg,
I'll second it.
seconded by Myron. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Our budget amendments, or excuse me, committee reports. We got the Parks and Rec Committee. Or excuse me, that's something else. Government Services Committee. Would anybody like to make a motion to acknowledge the minutes from the Government Services Committee?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Larry and seconded by Myron. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. The Revenue Research Committee. Would you like to make a motion to acknowledge these minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Larry,
I'll second.
seconded by Greg Matthews. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. We also have passed out to you a jail committee meeting. Would anybody like to make a motion to acknowledge these minutes?
Thank you, Nudge.
Daniel made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Glenn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We also have a FEMA flood plan. This is the updated version of the one we spoke on last month. It did have the corrections that Charlie Parker advised in our workshop meeting. So any holes or things that needed plugging in have been finished, and it's completed in its wholeness. So would anybody like to make a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll put that in the form of a motion.
All right, Myron made a motion,
I'll second.
seconded by Tom Chandler. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The TCRS hazard pay cost study resolution. This again would help with our first responders and their TCRS benefits. Anybody like to make a motion to do the cost study, TCRS cost study?
Make a motion.
Motion by Matthias, seconded by Greg Matthews. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Our next resolution is a detailed bond resolution not to exceed the amount of $55 million for the construction of a Smithville Elementary School. So if this passes, the school board will receive the funding for that new school that they have proposed to us.
I'll put that in the form of a motion that we accept this.
Second.
Myron made a motion and seconded by Larry Green. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
The Lord knows this is a touchy subject. Let me first acknowledge that the school board has a responsibility to find what schools should be built and when, and how they should be maintained. But I also acknowledge that the county commission has a fiduciary responsibility to determine not just whether the funds are available to fund the school board's plans, but to also determine if those funds will be spent in the best interest of the county. So I exercise my fiduciary responsibility as a member of this commission to say that I do not think this plan is in the best interest of the county. I do not believe the current enrollment data nor the 10-year growth history in our schools warrants this particular plan of action, at least not as a first priority. I also believe the school board has willingly withheld maintenance and upgrades for Smithville Elementary that would have extended its life because they were determined to build a new elementary school no matter what. Now, on multiple occasions, I have said that I would vote for a comprehensive 30-year plan that included a new elementary school if that plan included a broader plan for repairs and upgrades for the middle school and the high school. This is not that plan. This is the same old tired plan to build a new elementary school. And I remind this commission that this school could have been built in 15 years and at a lower cost if the school board had coughed up $2 million 18 months ago. However, I applaud the school board for their plan to build walls around some of the classrooms in the middle school. But you should ask yourselves, why do we have classrooms with no walls? Open concept learning was BS 50 years ago, and it's BS today. No, we have classrooms with no walls because it was cheaper than building a real elementary school. It's the same reason for why we have a dormitory instead of a real jail. For decades, the infrastructure of this county has been addressed with financially lowball and short-sighted solutions. And the public has been willingly led down that primrose path, not because it made any sense, but because they just didn't want to pay higher taxes. with the pipers at the door. And she is here, not just about our schools, but also about the courthouse, the jail, the community centers, the roads, the fire department, EMS, the list goes on. Stop and ponder this for a minute. Every child in kindergarten in DeKalb County today will have graduated from high school, and for some of them, their children will have graduated from high school before this school is paid for. At that point, the high school will be 90 years old, and the middle school will be 80 years old. That is not going to be an enticement for parents to put their children in DeKalb County schools. Don't you think we should have some idea of what the plan is for those schools and what it will cost before we continue down this primrose path?
Any more discussion? Clerk, can you call the roll?
Tom Chandler,
No.
Tony Luna,
Yes.
Larry Green,
Yes.
Beth Pafford,
Yes.
Myron Rhodey,
Yes.
Greg Matthews,
Yes.
Andy Pack,
Yes.
Matthias Anderson,
Yes.
Glenn Merriman,
Yes.
Brendan Donnell,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps, Jeff Barnes,
Yes.
Sabrina Farler, absent, Tony Colwell,
Yes.
12 yes.
All right, motion passes. Our next item is the special purpose permit. This is a permit for quarries, rock crushers, gravel pits, cryptocurrency mining, landfills, adult entertainment, and methadone clinics, as defined in Resolution 2024-10-115. Anybody like to make a motion to approve this special purpose permit?
I'll make a motion.
Motion
I'll
by
second it.
Matthias and seconded by Myron. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Our budget calendar. Anybody like to make a motion to approve the budget calendar?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Jeff. Second by Tom Chandler. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. So clarification on the Election Commission budget amendment. This is the budget amendment we made last month about the Election Commission offices. We just need to state that a little bit more clearly. So in reviewing that, Larry had made a motion. So the motion was that $110,000 was allocated for capital projects, account number 91706. The account is supposed to be 91110. And that's just moving the fund from fund balance of 91110 to line item 706, building construction. So I just need would anybody like to make a motion to
Since I
clarify?
screwed that up, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion that there is a motion of clarification that the commission allocated $110,000 from capital projects fund balance to go to line item 706, and that amount of $110,000 for building construction. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes. Amendment of our county commission policy and procedures. The Government Services Committee looked at a couple different factors about the Policy and Procedures Committee. One was getting rid of the word committee as a whole, instead changing that to workshop in our Policy and Procedures manual, because that was a little bit confusing on some of the language in there. There was a public comments amendment that in the workshop meetings, any member of the public could bring any topic and discuss in the workshop meetings, whether it was on the agenda or not on the agenda. And then at the county commission meetings or formal meetings, as we are here today in this setting, that it would be only things germinant to the agenda. That would give time for the agenda to be changed. If there was a topic that the public needed to express during the workshop and it needed to be on the agenda for Monday night, that agenda can still change and be amended. But once it's here, they keep it to what is on the agenda. I think that was pretty much everything that got amended. They did change some things about the committees and boards and commissions, I think, just changing the language and making it easier to read, but still providing the same information that it provides today on those topics. So you have a copy of that policy change. There's a draft document that was created for that. So would anybody like to entertain a motion to approve the amendment to these policy and procedures as requested from the Government Services Committee? I will like to clarify that this will have to be a 2/3 vote, which will be 10 votes.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Tom Chandler and seconded by Larry Green. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to address that. I appreciate the work they've done and the ideas they've kicked around, and I'm in full agreement with our policy and procedures as they are right now to give the public up to 3 minutes to speak before the Monday night monthly meeting and after the Thursday night workshop. I'm also okay with having people sign up at the door when they come in, but I don't want to limit them to the only one speak that signs up on the docket. Because what happens when somebody comes in late due to work or something? They may have something they want to talk about. So I'm not going to be too in favor of that. That limits people. And I'm also that if we're going to ask the public to limit their speaking time during the public comments, we need to limit ours to 3 minutes as well. We're not during a county commission meeting during public comments. We ought to be playing by the same rules. And we shouldn't restrict the public from speaking about other concerns other than what's on the budget, on the agenda. You know, they may have something just popped up in the last day or two that they need to talk about. And, after all, we do work for them. They did elect us to be their representatives, and I'm going to try to represent mine the best I can. And I don't go along with all these changes. Not at all.
Turn your mic on.
There was a statement to be read by the mayor before comments to let people know what the guidelines were. And in the case of where somebody might have come in late, I think that statement would have sort of opened the door to allow them, if they needed to, and had not signed up, allow them to do that. And we agreed that we ought to do that so that people would be aware that he would read the statement about what the guidelines were, so that people would know that, and that would happen at every meeting.
But I still don't think we need to be restricting the public talking during public comments. It's their time. It's not our time. It's the public's time. And if they've got something on their mind that they need to get voiced out, I think they need to be allowed to voice their comments. I do think they need to be in order, need to be in an orderly manner. I don't have no problem with that. But the mayor can ask them to be dismissed from the room. We've done that before. So I'm going to be in favor of leaving it like it is myself.
I've got concerns about the public comment updates as well. We do have protocol now. We used to not have any protocol. For those of you that came on the commission this last time, absolutely none. And I would like to make a motion that we remove the recommended changes to the policies and procedures that are around public comments for now. We can revisit that later, but I don't believe telling people they can't clap, being restrictive to the agenda. I've gone back and forth on it. I think Ms. Maxwell made a good point. We don't have public forums for people to just come talk. And even here, they're not talking, they can't ask questions. And everyone, with the exception of one incident, has been very respectful when they've come up here to talk. And I've got concerns about passing these restrictions at this time because that's what they look like. They look like an attempt to restrict the public's voice rather than to bring order to the meeting. So I'll make a motion that
We have a motion on the table.
Oh, go ahead.
We have a motion on the table.
I would like to amend the motion to approve the amendments to the County Commission policy and procedures with the exception of the section on public comments.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion by Beth to amend Larry's motion to approve all of the corrections other than anything that has to do with public comments, and Greg seconded that. Is there any discussion on that motion?
So exactly what is it going to say, what we're voting on?
Wait a minute, just clarification.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a motion on the floor,
You can make a subsidiary motion.
but Larry would have to modify his motion.
I didn't make a motion.
Larry didn't make
I was thinking we made a motion already, so we don't have a motion on the
We
table.
we do have a motion on the floor.
Tom's the one made the
I
motion.
made the motion. Larry didn't make a motion, I made it.
Well, yeah,
And I'm not gonna modify my motion.
I understand.
You don't have to.
So when you have a subsidiary motion on the floor, you'll vote on the amendment. If the amendment doesn't pass, then it will go back to the original motion that was
That's
on the table.
correct.
Okay?
That's correct.
Did everybody understand?
So clarify exactly what we're voting on.
Ultimately, to change to workshop rather than county as a whole. I think it's about the only.
Is that the main?
Then that's the main thing, and I think they put in something there where the chair of the committee cannot make a motion,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yeah.
Or second?
Okay.
Yep.
Is that, what about that the chair of the committee can't make a motion for, during that committee meeting, or, but not limited to any other business,
It's
correct?
Anything that a chairman
You got your-
in that meeting, he cannot make motions or seconds on anything.
In that meeting,
Right, if he's the chairman of that committee.
okay, but now that has nothing to do with anything else?
Right.
Just that meeting?
So like if you were the chairman
I don't have a problem with
Public
that.
Works or something,
Right.
you couldn't make a motion on
Right.
anything in the Public Works Committee.
Okay, I have no problem with that either, because I
Or
kind of
second.
had questions about that too.
Any more discussion? All right, we're voting on the amendment that Beth proposed, that you're approving the changes that the Government Services Committee recommended other than public comments. If this motion doesn't pass, it will go back to the original motion of approving it as a whole with its entirety. All right. Clerk, you can call the roll.
So we're basically voting to change committee of the whole will now be called workshop.
Correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
That mainly just helps us. Yeah, understand.
I'm assuming that no means that I don't agree with the amendment.
Yeah, no means that you do not support the amendment that Beth proposed.
No.
Okay.
No.
Larry Green,
No.
Beth Pafford,
Yes.
Myron Rhodey,
Yes.
Greg Matthews,
Yes.
Andy Pack,
Yes.
Matthias Anderson,
Yes.
Glenn Merriman,
Yes.
Brendan Donnell,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
No.
Jeff Barnes,
Yes.
Tony Caldwell.
Yes.
9 yes. 4 no.
All right, so it needs 2/3 vote to pass, and we only got 9 yeses, so we're off by 1 vote. So now we'll be back to the original motion.
Point of order.
Yes,
An amended motion only requires a majority vote.
Yes, I think that's right.
2/3 to approve this.
Takes 2/3 to approve the original motion. You know, it takes a majority of vote to amend it.
So do we need to go around now and vote
I
on
guess
the
so.
amended?
Yeah, but we can do it that way. You just don't
Know
want
what
to
we do?
vote it again?
Pardon?
And now we go ahead and vote on the amended motion?
Yes.
So that's what I was thinking too.
Okay.
Is that correct?
They're saying that.
We just approved the amended motion.
Right.
Now we've got to vote on it.
Vote to add it.
It's a little
approve
redundant,
it
but we can do it,
as-
I guess, if
yes.
it makes you feel good. Call row again.
So just hang on.
Or,
I'm going to withdraw my motion.
let's just do one thing. One chaos at a time here.
I've got a motion when he's done.
So Larry is saying that you only need majority to approve an amendment. So he now wants to vote on it again as approving it with the amendment and still have to get 2/3.
Correct.
So that's what we're gonna do. Because either way, it's gonna play out, so.
So we're voting on my original motion to accept this as it was.
No,
No.
we're voting on this, and it has to receive 2/3 vote with the amendment. So they're saying it passed because it only needed majority to amend something. So you only needed the majority to approve, to amend this, but now that it's amended, we have to vote on it by 2/3 vote to actually accept and approve the document,
Okay?
so.
Right.
So let's do a roll call vote on approving the amended policy and procedures.
Tom Chandler,
No.
Tony Luna,
No.
Larry Green,
Yes.
Beth Pafford,
Yes.
Myron Rhodey,
Yes.
Greg Matthews,
Yes.
Andy Pack,
Yes.
Matthias Anderson,
Yes.
Glenn Merriman,
Yes.
Brandon Donnell,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps, Jeff Barnes,
Yes.
Tony Caldwell.
Yes.
11 yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, our next item is the land for sale, the Saddle Club lot that the county owns, and also the Smithfield Police Department. So we was asked to put this on the agenda because there was some conflicting opinions on whether we should sell some of these properties and whether we shouldn't. I think the most contested was the Smithfield Police Department lot. So I think it might be appropriate that we need a motion to approve just selling the lots.
I think, I'd like to make a motion that we separate them.
Thank you. I'll second that.
We can do that. If y'all just want to make a motion one at a time, we can do it that way without.
Can I
I'll
clear
make
that?
motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we table the sale of the property behind the Smithville Police Department and proceed with the sale of the Pine Creek Saddle Club.
I second
that. Ultimately, that's what we're all gonna.
All right, motion
shoot
by
for you.
Larry, to approve sale of the Saddle Club, and this is gonna be contingent on our appraisals and stuff, and we'll get the prices and actually make it more formal. This is mainly just agreeing that we're gonna sell it. So, motion that they're under agreement to sell the Saddle Club while also tabling the Smithfield Police Department topic, and Colwell seconded that.
Do you want to take your motion off? Because we've got a motion and a second already on the
I'll
table.
take mine off. It was all
Okay.
ultimately in the same end, so.
Same thing.
Any discussion? All right, I'm gonna call a roll on this one too, just 'cause
Tony Colwell,
nature.
Yes.
Jeff Barnes,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Brandon Donnell,
Yes.
Glenn Merriman,
Yes.
Matthias Anderson,
Yes.
Andy Pack,
Yes.
Greg Matthews,
Yes.
Myron Rhodey,
Yes.
Beth Pafford,
No.
Larry Green,
Yes.
Tony Luna,
Yes.
Tom Chandler.
Yes.
12 yes.
All right, motion passes. Next item is to appoint Charlie Parker as the floodplain administrator. I'd like to appoint Charlie as that, and that's relative to the FEMA flood plan we passed earlier. I'd just like you to confirm that appointment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Tony Cole and seconded by Myron Rhodey. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, that's all we have for new business and other business. I'd like to ask our road supervisor, Danny Hell, to come up and talk about the road survey that was handed out at the workshop. I think you also have some news from the Capitol for us, maybe even.
Well, first off, we need to, I need to straighten up a road list where I left 2 road measurements off. That was Douglas Road. If you want to put on there, it's 1/10 of a mile, because I didn't have the mileage on it. And then it's got Nixon Way, it's 4/10 of a mile. So that got that out of the way. Y'all give a survey Thursday night. I had a survey done of the DeKalb County roads. If you're looking at that, I don't know if you got it with you or not, but I'll kind of explain what it means. It's got from street name to street name. It's got deteriorated PCI. That's pavement condition index is what it is. Beside of that, it's got an estimated cost for that road. To bring it up to 100%, that'd be next. It's got rural local. It tells where it's oil or whatever, and it tells what it needs to do. So this is a survey of every road in DeKalb County. And on your first page up here, it's got a figure of what it would take to pull the roads up to 100%. That figure is $56,893,033. So that tells you what it would take to pull our roads up to 100% today. We basically work out of a $2 million budget, 50% of it's operating cost. So that's about $1 million a year we can put in the roads. So this is kind of a, I guess you could say a 56-year plan. And it's a third party that ain't a he said, she said thing, so this is a survey of the roads. Now, he asked me to talk about revenue. At the state meetings this past week, they're talking about taking 50% of the real estate tax. So that wouldn't affect nothing that the state does, and it was based on a 4-year average of what they was going to take to give to the counties. And it was based on how much real estate you sell in your county, the tax off of it. So that figure would be $155,212,290 is what they would take if they took out of that tax. All right. DeKalb County, over a 4-year average, see what it said here, over a 4-year average, that would be $435,439.83 to the county. The stipulation is that 50% of it has to be used for transportation. The other 50% can be used for different things. And it tells, that little paper tells what it says. It can go to debt structure, debt services, capital projects, matching funds for state and federal projects, and other non-recurring expenses is what the other half can be used for. If this bill passes, it's House Bill 649, Senate Bill 1080. So, and if this passes, it'll take effect July the 1st. So there's a possibility, we could come into a little more revenue that way. And on our part of it, they're also talking about doubling the mineral severance tax over a 10-year period, which won't mean a lot to us now. I mean, got it kept at 15 cents a ton now for mineral severance tax. Talking about raising that, doubling over a 10-year period. It'd be 5 cents starting July the 1st if this bill passes, another 5 cents in 5 years, and then another 5 cents in 5 more years, which would be another 15 cents. We're currently getting 15 cents a ton. So that would double what little we get on mineral severance tax. But that's all I had to say. I just want to explain that stuff to you. If anybody's got any questions, I got copies of stuff. Or I can get you copies of stuff you need. Any questions?
All right, any questions for Danny?
Thank you, Danny, for that. That's an eye-opening report for sure.
Thank you, Danny. Any commissioner have any other business?
There was one other recommendation that came out of the Revenue Committee.
Yes.
And that was that we move forward with the building permit process.
Okay.
And if this commission approves that, then we'll come back with a more detailed building permit process at the next meeting.
So you just want like an initial
Yes, an initial
motion for support,
to
pretty much?
approve building permits to be issued by the county rather than the state.
Okay.
And keep that revenue in the county rather than let the state have it.
Anybody got any questions about that? All right. Larry, you want to make a motion?
Yes, my motion is the county move forward with the county building permits rather than allowing the state to do it.
All right. Larry made a motion to move forward with our own local building permits.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Beth Pafford. Any discussion?
We have a cost, upfront cost of what this is.
I do not have a cost. Larry, do you have any
We get an upfront cost once we get into the details of it. Oh, this is just an approval. We will have to come back to this commission again to bring a detailed building permit program to the commission, for the commission to approve.
Right now, we are not voting. Yes, we're gonna do this, we're gonna start this. We're just voting to look into it.
We're voting to start the process.
I think he's just mainly looking to gain support, like if this would be something you would support before he goes any further, 'cause I'm sure it's probably pretty extensive on what you gotta do to figure all that out.
Do we
so.
know which office they go to get this? Have we?
Pardon?
Do we know where they go to get this permit? Is this another?
It will be
vote on
online.
Jimmy? It'll be
It'll
online,
be
okay.
online. And a copy of that would go to the building inspector who will issue the permit, plus it also go to the tax assessor, so he'll know that something's going on this property.
Where do they go now?
Online to the state,
Yeah, this is just to look at.
and you use the state website, and then everything is done by state law, of what state building codes are.
So it's the same.
Which we would do the
we're talking
same
about
thing. It'll be the
basically
same
the same
codes.
process,
There would nothing
just
be changed
administered by
about
the
the
county.
codes. There's no change to the building codes. They're the same codes they use now. It's just a matter of who gets the revenue from the permit. Do the state gets it or we get it?
Okay, are we gonna have to provide an office? How many employees are we gonna have?
Online.
Upfront cost. I mean,
We just need to figure
We
that
will
out.
eventually have to have a building inspector.
Do you have an estimated cost of what this will bring? What it'll generate?
It's be hard to tell because it's based on how many houses we get built in this county.
We might could reach out to CTAS and see if they have any kind of resources that could help us do a study or something.
Yeah.
I would be in favor of a study of it, but I don't want to get a motion started and then down the road say, well, we've already approved that. We do need to do a study on it, and let's get some expenditures and some income possibilities, and then we got something to vote on.
I think that's what this is, right? Yeah.
I mean, if that's what we're doing, then that's, as long as that's all we're doing.
Yeah, that's all we're doing.
I think the confusion is in the way the motion was stated, because it did sound as if we were gonna go do this. When I think the agreement is that we're gonna start down the path of looking at what's required to do this, and then the committee will come back to us with some plan or structure, and then we will vote on that.
Right.
So you have to do it anyway, we're just cutting the state out of it. We're
I mean,
keeping that
if there's
revenue.
no interest on the commission to do it, then there's no point in this committee moving forward with it.
Well, I'll second that motion if it's not been seconded. Then we do a study on it.
Any more discussion?
Well, it's evidently not been seconded, so.
Yeah, it's seconded. Let's call roll.
Tom Chandler,
Yes.
Tony Luna,
Yes.
Larry Green,
Yes.
Beth Pafford,
Yes.
Myron Rhodey,
Yes,
Greg Matthews,
Yes.
Andy Pack,
Yes.
Matthias Anderson,
Yes.
Glenn Merriman,
Yes.
Brandon Donnell,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps, Jeff Barnes,
Yes.
Sabrina, Tony Colwell.
Yes.
12 yes.
All right, motion passes. Any other business from a county commissioner?
I would like to make a motion to submit the 2024 minutes from Smithville Electric to the county clerk, just to be part of the historical record for
Okay.
the county.
Y'all are familiar with the minutes from the utility district that Beth has shared with you by email. She wants to add that to our minutes in our meeting as a historical record. And if the motion passes, Beth, can you just send that to Jimmy by email?
Yeah, I'll just give
Okay.
it to him.
Anybody second that motion? Seconded by Myron. Any discussion?
So, I have no issues with it being added. I would just like for it to be noted that this commission had nothing to do with that meeting, and anything that was decided in that meeting, we played no part in. So that way some future, person goes through there, we're only putting it in our file, not that we had anything to do with it.
I think it's more of an observational report.
Yeah.
I guess. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Any other business?
Do you know, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
I'm sorry,
I'll
Ms.
talk to
Beth. I'm the new guy. Go ahead.
Go.
Any more, the bids on the heat in the courthouse?
I am waiting, are you talking about the repair to get it
Yes.
running? So, the company told me that they're having to, I don't know if manufacture a part or something where it's so old that this one specific part they can't get their hands on. They're having to wait. They were trying to expedite it to get it here. They said that they think the supplier could probably get it to us by the end of the month, hopefully.
And that is just to fix it for right now?
That's just to get it up and running until we can make it more permanent. I'm probably gonna ask for, approximately $400,000 at budget time, in capital projects to completely overhaul that entire, system, and remove the boiler, the chiller, the blower, and put in modern HVAC on all 3 floors with split units and thermostats.
So in the meantime, is there no heat in the?
There's no heat. It's very cold.
So through the rest of this week, there will be no heat. That's assuming the part comes on Friday,
Yes.
which is the end of the month.
It's been terribly cold, like bone chattering
I
cold.
bet.
I couldn't even feel my keyboard to type.
You wearing long
Cold.
underwear.
It was bad.
have we had any plumbing problems
No, I was really concerned with that night that it got down to like 7 degrees or whatever, single digits. But I come to the courthouse during the snow and turned on the faucets and stuff and tried to get the water to run some to prevent the freezing, and come back the next day when it got above freezing.
How fast did he say you could get that part in or installed back to where
How
it's
much?
not 30 degrees in there?
How much or how much time?
Yeah, how much time?
Like I said, he said he was hoping that the supplier would get it by the end of the month. That's about as good as I could get.
Do you know how much roughly what it's gonna cost?
The part was only gonna cost like maybe $2,000, I think. for, just to get it back up and running again. So the cost to get it back up and running isn't as significant as the permanent fix. But I would like I said, at budget time, I'm probably gonna ask the budget committee to allocate that significant amount of money to completely redo all of the heating and cooling.
Well, something's gonna have to be done.
Right, and a lot of them don't work and haven't worked for probably a good 5 or 6 years, because that boiler works off the water pipes going up to they're like a little wall unit that blows the heat, and the water from the boiler goes up to it. Well, the pipes are so corroded between the wall unit and the boiler that the hot water can't get up there. You can touch below the floor, the piping is scalding hot, and then you can go touch it above and it's cold, like ice cold. So they said that there's a lot of buildup in the lines where the water can't properly get throughout the courthouse to heat and cool. So that's the reason we're just gonna talk about maybe doing a whole overhaul. I'm not quite sure what the cost is yet. We've got to get an engineer to engineer how that's gonna go through the courthouse. You know, they got really thick marble and concrete to try to get through and stuff. So we'll have to get an engineer to engineer the project to really determine the cost. But they said it would be anywhere from, more than likely, $250,000 to $500,000 area on completely rehauling everything.
And I do want to make a request that our county attorney revisit SRM and whether or not they would no longer meet the grandfather protection since they've been inactive. If he could just review the County Powers Act and also the current information, and then give us his recommendations.
We can do that. Any other business?
But we didn't send them a letter saying you were grandfathered. We did, Hilton sent them a letter saying, if you thought you were grandfathered, let us know.
Yeah, they're supposed to apply for that
And they
grandfather
haven't done
status,
that.
and no one's applied for it.
Would like his recommendation on whether or not they should also receive a cease and desist.
Yes. Any other business?
Any update on our medical examiner?
No, not yet. We're probably gonna have to bring that up in committee and try to looking at some different options. But I'll get with, I guess it'd be our health and safety committee, and we'll work on some stuff. Any other business? All right. Our notaries, we have Dakota Alley, Fernando Bazaladu. I got that wrong probably. Thomas Clark, Jesse Leon, Dwayne Page, Laura Patterson, and Kelly Sally. Anybody like to make a motion to approve the notaries?
I'll put that in form of motion.
Motion by Myron, seconded by Tom. Any discussion?
Can we take Dwayne out?
It's gonna get amended. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Jeff, seconded by Myron. Any discussion? All in favor